drive, drives, drove, have driven. Present, I drive, you drive, he, she, it drives, we drive, you drive, they drive. Example, he drives a blue Toyota. Past, I drove, you drove, he, she, it drove, we drove, you drove, they drove. Example, I drove the kids to school. Present perfect, have or has driven. Past perfect, had driven. Present progressive, I am driving, you are driving, he, she, it is driving, we are driving, you are driving, they are driving. Example, I'm driving home this afternoon. Past progressive, I was driving, you were driving, he, she, it was driving, we were driving, you were driving, they were driving. Example, we were driving to Seattle. Future, will drive, future progressive, will be driving, and future perfect, will have driven. Past passive, I was driven, you were driven, he, she, it was driven, we were driven, you were driven, they were driven. Example, the decision was driven by the need to be more cost-effective. Complements. Drive meaning operate a vehicle. Who can drive? My grandmother never drives at night. Drive meaning move with a great force or speed. The rain was driving across the road. The army drove forward relentlessly. Drive meaning operate a vehicle equipped with an object. He is driving an old pickup truck. He drove a rented convertible in Hawaii. Who can drive a stick shift? Drive meaning cause to go to specific place with object plus adverb of place to or from. I drove the car into the garage. Can you drive me home? The waves drove the boat onto the rocks. The farmers were driving their sheep to pasture. Drive meaning press forcefully. The company drives its sales force hard. The jockeys drove their horses as hard as they could. Drive meaning force into a specific condition or behavior with object plus to object. Reading Dr. King's speech drove him to a life of service. Object plus predicate adjective. You are driving me crazy. His behavior drove his parents mad. Object plus infinitive. The bad reviews drove the author to entirely revise the play. Famine drove the peasants to revolt. Drive meaning shape or propel. National interests always drives foreign policy. Opposition to slavery drove public opinion in the North. Oil prices now drive the value of the dollar. Phrasal verbs. Drive down, meaning cause to decrease. Foreclosures are driving down home prices. Drive up, meaning cause to increase. Limiting oil production will drive prices up. Drive on, cause to move. It is in the memory of my mother that drives me on. Drive on, meaning cause to move forward to success. It is the memory of my mother that drives me on.